company does not. How do I know Indonesian tax law? Well, how funny would that be if I was actually an international tax analyst? And one of my jobs is researching the treaties between countries, the tax treaties. How funny! How funny would that be? No way! No fucking way! How funny! How convenient would that be? I know! It's almost like I actually wrote last year's entire analysis on international tax law treaties for like one of the major accounting consulting firms last year. No, it couldn't be me. That's certainly, I'm not that gal. I don't know what you're talking about. See, that's the problem. Even my company got a CPA to make sure I got my taxes done. No, exactly. So, stop. I'm going to make you pee your pants. I know. Oh my god, my big titty kaiju lady on the internet that talks about balls and Gundams all day has a real job. What is this? What fucking is this? Oh my god, my immersion's being broken. I thought this stream was supposed to be nothing but pure cancer, and instead we're talking about the fucking taxes. What the shit? What the actual shit? And I made the mistake, as one does, of chiming in, and you would not believe the amount of fucking questions I'm getting on this post about tax shit. So here we are now talking about it. Hello, the trans thing. Hi, HK. Look at all this. Look at all these questions. And frankly, I have a job. I couldn't respond to all of them. Hi, Black Jesus. What's poppin', homie? What's good? What happened? Internet drama. We're talking about internet drama today, is what's happening. So, today, in the most funnest of fun ways, we're going to talk about this drama. I wanted to start off by actually watching the Michi clip in particular. I wanted to take a minute. We're going to actually sit down. We're going to watch this clip together on YouTube, please. Thank you. We're going to actually sit down. We're going to watch this clip together. I didn't mean girls drama. I did. It blew up. People got very upset. All these people get a tax extension because they don't know how to pay. Tax extensions do not make it where you don't have to pay. Internet drama, tax drama. I know, tax drama. The only thing that I'm actually qualified to talk about live on the internet, holy shit, something that I'm actually qualified to commentate on. I usually avoid all of this drama because I think it's kind of stupid, to be honest. Maybe I'm just a little bit too old for it, but like whenever I see like drama, like, oh, so-and-so traced my art, blah, 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 I'm like, okay. Or like, you know, so-and-so is having drama. I'm like, that sucks, dude. That sucks, homie. Maybe it's just the old lady in me to like not give a flying fuck about shit anymore. You know? I don't know if anybody else is like that, but like it takes quite a bit to make me pique my interest in some kind of drama. Can I marry you strictly so you can do our taxes and I never have to look at them again? No, you can't. I don't even do, actually I do my own taxes. You're not wrong. I do all of my own taxes. I actually extended mine because I didn't feel like organizing all my paperwork yet. I gotta get on that shit. They're due soon enough. How about those scam posts where they steal VTuber models and pawn them off as their own? Whatever, man. They're scammers. Just block and move on, I guess. Block and move on. Don't buy things from people via Twitter alone. Get references from people you know. Or buy things that friends have purchased before and personally recommend. That's how you do it, ordering services. I've had commission money practically stolen for a very long amount of time before, so I feel like I learned that lesson pretty early on. With taxes, you either pay or you don't. The IRS owes you money. Exactly. The IRS will claw it back eventually. Hi, Skullender. What's poppin', homie? Boy fucking howdy. Boy fucking howdy. We're gonna watch this video real quick. We're gonna pause the music. We're gonna give this video a watch. This is a whole thing. Now, mind you, this title here, the Michi Michovi's previous employer screwed up her taxes. That is not her title of this clip. This is whoever uploaded this clip. They titled it that. So this isn't her saying that. She seems much more willing to accept that, like, part of the blame falls on her shoulders. However, I will give her the benefit of the doubt and say, like, I have watched this video in its entirety already. I actually watched the entire video on my drive into the office on Monday when this video first came out. And it gave me access to the office and all of my paid software where I can look up various tax treaty law for free on my office computer. And my busy season's over. Tax filing is done. I'm like in a downtime right now. I don't have much to do. So I spent 2 entire days just researching this issue, okay? So we're gonna watch the video. Hi, Winter, what's poppin'? This can only end poorly. It's not gonna end too poorly. We're gonna have a good time.
Like, I'm very aware of this, so I try to be very careful with my money. Thankfully, I can say, like, this is very self-centered, but I'm relieved to say that I have never once really had to suffer too much. I did have one issue that put me in a really bad place. Because this was my first and hopefully last financial problem I've ever really encountered because of, like, it's not even my fault, right? Like, because keep in mind, I am insanely paranoid about this. So I've always been scared about being in debt. And here's like a little story. Please do not...
As you should. Let me just say, as you fucking should. Don't be in debt, you guys. Don't be in debt. It's a bad trap that winds up with you being stuck. It's nice to see people, especially VTubers, because it's very easy to fall into VTuber debt traps with how much shit that you have to buy to be a VTuber. I missed you too, Winter. Welcome back, homie. With how much shit that you have to buy to do any sort of VTuber content whatsoever, it's easy to fall into the trap of just kind of adding it into debt and then trying to start paying it off slowly as you get back. It's not good. It's a really bad fucking idea.
Like, I know some people will speculate and shit. Like, I just want you to know, it's already over. It's in the past. No speculating. It's just something that a story that I can finally tell, right? So, I have been working since I was like 14,
Counterpoint,
15.
get a
Like,
country level debt where you trade debt with other countries. True,
know?
Jesse,
Okay,
true.
good. Okay. So I've always worked ever since I was younger. So the moment I turned 18, I immediately applied for, like, you know, my MPWP, like my taxes, right? That's like a tax number is, I think, what it's called. I forgot.
So in other countries, it's basically really common. I'm just rolling with the assumption that the majority of the people in here are in the US. Basically, in the US, you get your tax ID number, which is your social security number, the day that you're born. Or you get, if you're like me, you get your tax ID number, your social security number, on the day that you get citizenship. You can also get tax ID numbers by applying for non-resident tax ID numbers. There's like a bunch of different ways. I-9, is that the form? There's like a bunch of different forms that you can apply to get an American tax ID number. In a lot of other countries, you don't get that automatically. Your entire life isn't... It's not... Your whole life isn't tied to a fucking ID number that can be stolen. You get it when, like, you're an adult and you start making money and you have a job, or you need, like, some sort of government services that need to be tracked or things like that. You don't just automatically get assigned one that can be stolen, where you wind up in situations where your credit is stolen as a 5-year-old by, like, some aunt or uncle or even your parents to use it to pay buy credit cards and stuff. You're learning all your financial decisions from VTuber streams. That's probably the most based place to learn about financial decisions. It's probably the most fucking based place to learn about that, to be fair. Might as well learn it from an anime girl instead of some boring dude on YouTube, huh?
But I immediately applied for that, even though my income wasn't enough to pay taxes. It's just like, just to be safe, right? I know I act like a gremlin and shit, like I act like an asshole, but I really, really do not want to go to jail. So I've immediately had like, yeah, tax registration number. So basically I registered myself into like all this shit because in my country, it's not automated. You have to like sort it out and then go to the office, IRL.
Yep. You have to go to the office, actually apply for it. It's right. a whole thing. So, it's a whole fucking thing.
There are plus and minuses of that.
Which, if you are not American and you are coming to the US to work or do things, it's a whole fucking thing. Like, you have to do interviews, you have to do your applications, you have to submit a bunch of fucking paperwork. It's a fucking hassle. It is a massive fucking hassle to try and get a tax ID number in the US. A huge pain in the ass.
System that I won't talk about because it is a little bit political and I'm not going to talk about that because I don't know. All I know is I'm a good citizen. I am a good law-abiding citizen that I've always paid my taxes the moment I turned 18. So when I was 18 to around 20, 18 to 20, I didn't earn enough to pay my taxes. So thankfully I didn't have to go through that. But I was very, very aware of how the system worked, right? Because unironically, I was so scared of like going to jail for like tax evasion or some shit. Because like, especially if I didn't mean it, you know, like.
Which by the way, people always talk about how scared they are about going to jail for tax evasion. Especially like in the US, people make a lot of jokes about going to jail for tax evasion or not paying your taxes or whatever. And a lot of people, like, if you wind up, there's a ridiculous amount of people that I have met who have, like, wound up with, like, massive, massive amounts of tax debt. And I mean, like, huge amounts of tax debt. And, like, will avoid talking to the IRS because they're like, I'm going to go to jail, blah, 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 blah. What's going to happen to me? I don't want to go to prison. They're actually really nice. They're actually really fucking nice. If you are willing and able to make even the smallest amount of payments to try and get on top of your tax debt, they're willing to work with you and they're okay with it. You're not just going to get tossed into prison. There's a lot of things you got to do wrong to get locked up for tax crimes in the US. Exactly. And the other thing is that, okay, let's say you're a bad guy. Okay, let's say you're a bad fucking guy and you know what? Your hobby is flying planes, specifically to Colombia, and bringing back packages to the US and selling those packages. All for cash, all underhanded. You're just a transport guy, but you know what? For some reason, you have a hunch that money's not super legal, and you might go to jail if someone knew that you were flying in your private jet to Colombia and coming back every weekend. However, if you just report the cash to the IRS, they won't tell anybody where the money came from. They're just happy that you paid them, okay? They're not going to call the popo on you as long as you pay the taxes that you owe on it. You have to report and pay that money. They don't give a shit where the money came from. They don't care. They're not bothering with you. You could be selling your booty on the highway or flying to Colombia, bringing back nice little packages, anything, any matter of, potentially illicit activity. The IRS just wants their cut, okay? IRC, the IRS is a line item for reporting stolen money as income. Exactly. It's okay. It doesn't matter where the money came from. Rob a bank, whatever. IRS just wants their cut of the cash. You know what? That stolen money in the bank was going to go somewhere eventually, so they want their cut. You're saying instead of them being lawful evil, like we thought they're actually neutral. They are the truest neutral of neutral. They don't give a shit if you're evil. They don't give a shit if you're good. All they care, I would say lawful neutral. Yeah, I would say lawful neutral. They're okay, they have to report. They do. Do they have the okay to report? Like if they wanted to call the popo? I don't think anyone would care. Honestly, you can't. I don't know. I don't know if they're allowed to. All I know is they don't. Probably out of principle so that they can continue getting the tax revenue. Because it's kind of like one of those things. It's like one of those things. Oh, thank you for goth mode, Blaz. It's like one of those things where essentially, like, if you go to the hospital for something that happened that's illegal, right? Like, let's say you and your buddy, and your buddy is just, like, super blitzed on something. Also, hi, Katora, welcome in. Welcome. You and your buddy is, like, really sick and really blitzed on something, all right? And you go to the hospital. The hospital is not gonna call the popo. The hospital's not calling the popo. They're there to take care of you. Mwah, forehead kisses. Thank you. Hi, Nike. What's poppin'? They're there to take care of you. And the reason why they don't do that, if like a friend brought you to the hospital, is because they don't want to prevent people from going to the hospital when they need help. Essentially, is what happens. They don't want to prevent you from doing
you
it.
Look kind of dangerous. I almost feel like I should be calling you mommy.
You should be calling me mommy. Probably. I'm giving you taxes. Well, let me clarify. I am not giving anyone tax advice today. I am a tax accountant. I am not yours. I'm not yours. And I'm certainly not giving tax advice today. A person jailed is a customer lost. Exactly. So why you never lie to an ambulance? They only want to help you. It's so true. It's so true. I'm not claiming liability for any of this. We should be well aware. I don't claim liability for shit, ever. This is not legal tax advice. These are personal musings by a jiggly
Okay,
VTuber. Exactly. That's exactly what's fucking happening. So I've been talking about finances for the last hour. We'll get to it, okay? We'll get to it. I just keep pausing the video to talk about these things. We'll keep watching.
I tried my best to learn everything. But the moment I turned like around 20, that's when I started getting like a job, right? Like I got an office
So
job.
basically this whole thing is she's explaining how when she turned 20, she got her tax numbers, she got a real job, and at those jobs in Indonesia, mind you, they're jobs in Indonesia, one of the big things is that they will withhold your taxes and pay it to the government on your behalf. Which, we do that in America, we do that in Canada, fucking everywhere does it, alright? Everywhere does it. We'll quote you to our tax software overlords. Fuck tax software, man. Fuck tax software. 100%. 100%. We're gonna skip forward.
That's the kind of person I am. I would much rather give the government more money. Because, first of all, paying taxes is a good thing. I know people are like, nya, taxes. But that's how your country works. And you want to support it. And I want to support it. So I would much rather overpay a little bit, right? So we had a whole system set up. And basically, for like 2 years, I never spent any money out of my own wallet to pay the tax. I did I did file them, but I never really spent money because every month they took 10% anyways for my taxes. Right? And like that's what we discussed. And it was written even that it's like, oh yeah,
Forehead
they
kisses.
took money for taxes.
Basically the same way that it works with withholdings here. More or less. You get a job, You tell them what percentage of stuff to take out. The government withholds the money, and then they just kind of pay your taxes on your behalf, like your payroll taxes as part of like withholding from your paycheck. If you do not do that, in the US, you have a weird tax situation, your company doesn't withhold any of your payroll taxes on your behalf, you generally are required to make quarterly estimate payments on your taxes. Not just wait until the end of the year and then pay all your taxes. They don't like that. You're required to make, especially if you're making over a certain amount of money, payments every 3 months to start like counting down on the payments is more or less what the government wants. And they will fine you for not doing that if your tax burden is large enough.
It's not like, oh, it's just a verbal thing. You don't know if they did. They did. There's written proof that they did.
Does
So
she
I
get pay
never
stubs? Yeah,
spent
she's
any
just
money out of
explaining
my
that
own
she got
wallet
pay
because it's
stubs and
already
she looks at
deducted.
them.
Right. And then TLDR, 2 years later, I got sent a letter from my local government that I have actually been avoiding taxes. And they were like, onto my ass. They were like, hey, by the way, you haven't paid your taxes in 2 years. And according to your report, you have earned a significant amount compared to your last paid taxes. And you are late by like 2 years, so we will have to add interest fees. And that's when I start shitting myself a little bit.
Yep. That's essentially it. That's, we've gotten to the crux of the video at this point. Yes. So essentially she's basically just confirmed that she gets pay stubs. She looks at them. Niji Sanji essentially says in the pay stubs that they are withholding 10% for taxes. And she was going with the assumption that her 10% withholding for taxes was being paid to her country's government. Because here's the crux of the fucking issue. Everyone on the internet, and I mean fucking everyone on the internet, was kind of railing on. I can literally scroll through this right now. And people are talking about how Niji Sanji is stealing money. It's illegal. It's tax evasion. It's tax fraud. They're doing crazy shit with making sure, like, withholding her money and stealing it to pay their personal taxes. None of that is happening. We talking about what piece of shit Niji Sanji is? We are, but we're also making fun of people who think that this is what's wrong. In reality, not to be on the side of Niji Sanji, because we are all aware that Niji Sanji are pieces of shit. We're all aware that Niji Sanji are massive pieces of shit. They're assholes. Nobody likes them. They're bad company. But they're bad company in the way that they are a woefully cheap, disorganized, mismanaged company, and not necessarily an evil corporation that is attempting to steal a VTuber's money. You have no idea what a Niji Sanji is? Niji Sanji is Michi Michovi's ex. It is Niji Sanji is Michi Michovi's ex talent management agency, essentially. So what corporate VTubers will do, if you want to be a VTuber, but you don't necessarily want to do a ridiculous amount of the day-to-day things, or you simply want more stuff, like more opportunities, more branding, more merchandise management, you get a talent management agency. And what they essentially do is they are the overarching head, and for the content that you make and the revenue and earnings that you get a percentage cut of those earnings and merchandise sales and revenue sent to you as a paycheck. So it makes VTubing a lot more accessible for like an employee perspective. Technically, they are independent contractors. They're not employees because they set their own schedule, they make their own content, they work when they want. If they fought that in court, I feel like the courts wouldn't hold up saying that they're independent contractors. I think if she actually chose to take it to court, the court would align saying that no, actually, you are an employee and they have misassigned you as an independent contractor. But that's not what she's doing right now. Niji's not being illegal here. They're just looking out for their livers in this situation. Not looking out for their livers in this situation. Most people don't understand international taxes. Exactly. Fucking exactly. People in Niji paid the taxes to Japan and not Indonesia, and that's a mistake. It's not actually necessarily a mistake. One of the biggest things, so I do actually work in international tax. One of the biggest things, everyone's saying that this is, they fucked up by not communicating with her, by saying that these are Japanese taxes, not your income taxes that you owe to Indonesia. You're responsible for paying those. We're withholding for your Japanese taxes. Essentially what's happened is Japan, like most countries, oh shit, brushy and a head pat at the same time? Thank you. Most countries, if there is a person earning income in their country that does not reside in that country, they require the company that is paying out that income. Christ. They require the company that is paying out that income to preemptively withhold income taxes so that they can make sure that the government gets paid. They can make sure that the government gets paid. So essentially, like, let's say I go to Japan. Okay, hypothetically, me, little old me, I go to Japan and I make money over there. I'm going there legally on like a temporary work visa to go to a convention, and I'm getting paid $1,000 to go to this convention, right? The convention that is paying me is legally required to withhold a portion of that income to Japanese taxes. Now, when I get back to the US, I still have to pay the US taxes based on the full $1,000 that they paid me. And then what happens is I take my tax filings and I send those back to Japan and I say, hey, Japan, look, I understand that you withheld taxes from me for this income that I earned from a convention that I attended over there. However, I paid taxes in the US on that income. Can you refund me? And Japan will send me a refund of the taxes that were withheld because the US and Japan have a treaty with each other. Now, in situations like Michi, where she lives in Indonesia, which has a really low tax rate, what actually happens is